going to Graceland.
We are?
I mean, the original Graceland. Going to Vasselheim. My name is Bal.
I'm Jana, and I'm confused, but don't let that stop you.
There's a song called Going to Graceland. And
Okay.
also, I'm pretty sure that's what Elvis Presley's estate is called. It's Graceland.
Yeah?
I don't know. It seemed like an appropriate moniker for Vasselheim, considering.
Also sounds like the headquarters of some sort of cult, so yeah, you're right on the money.
It sounds like a cult
I'm pretty sure I've seen a Netflix documentary about some weird Christian cult that built a Graceland somewhere in Texas or something.
That sounds about right. They only have like 3 names. Like if you look into any cult, any American cult really, there are cults in other countries with more unique names. But if you look into any American cults, they have like about 3 names between them, and it's all like heaven and like
It's Heaven, Grace, and Eden.
Heaven, Grace, and Eden. Exactly. That's the 3. Heaven, Grace, and Eden.
I don't even want to know how many tiny towns in the US exist that are just called Eden, which
so many.
Kind of, to me, would feel like heresy or something, but,
I mean,
so
like,
this
this is...
putting Jesus messages into Easter plays ripped out of popular culture or something, so my understanding of religion is very different from mainstream American understanding. Hello! We're on topic!
We're so on topic, actually. Speaking of rural
topics.
America and...
yeah?
Rural Vasselheim, I guess.
Who knows? Who knows? We will talk about Vasselheim at length in the actual episode. Yes, we are here to talk about episode 16 of Critical Role Campaign 1, called Enter Vasselheim.
I really love how simple the episode titles used to be. I think especially now with like Critical Campaign 3, which I love Campaign 3. I'm really enjoying it so far.
Same.
I'm like genuinely just like watching it and like am compelled in a way that I haven't been compelled by Critical Role.
Yeah, like the entire... Happens. I haven't seen the newest episode yet. That's always going to be the situation when we record on Sundays because I can't watch live because I have a live, and lives would be at 4 a.m. So I sometimes catch the end of an episode, or I wake up in the middle of that and catch the middle of an episode and fall asleep to it. That's what happened actually.
Which part did you catch? Oh, sorry, no spoilers. It's just came out. So. Tell me after.
They would. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
I will.
I wanted to note that, like, while as much as I enjoy the Campaign 3 episodes, their titles could be generated by a machine.
Yeah, all of them sound kind of like modern fantasy novels, don't they? A noun of noun and nouns, a noun and a noun. Noun and noun.
And, like, you look at the old Campaign 1 episodes where they were coming up with episode titles, like, without any background experience or any pool to draw from, and they were just like, I don't know, they go into
also
Vasselheim.
No titles to repeat.
Yes, there's no titles to repeat. Just Enter Vasselheim.
Cool. And later on we'll return to Vasselheim.
Return to Vasselheim. They're just very simple. There's something very charming about how simple they are. They feel like they could all be like the titles of like a learning to read book. Enter Vasselheim. Just open to the first pages. Pike and Grog went up the hill to fetch a pail of water.
Good for them.
Let's not not the version of the song where they have sex on top of the hill. That would be weird.
I hope
like
not.
Siblings.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Yeah, so
anyway.
Campaign 3 is happening. Campaign 3 is happening. We like what's going on. The new season of the L Word looks great. It's a joke I keep making on social media. I haven't even seen the L Word, but you know.
Yeah.
When you know, you know.
You know. The drama, it is happening. It is real.
And everyone is so invested. Everyone is so invested in this one relationship.
I don't trust Chetney even a little bit, and I'm trusting him less and less by the day, but now we're not at a Campaign 3 community board to talk about Campaign 1.
Can we, do another thing? Because, also, we are... the episode was first aired on July 2nd, 2015. We are recording this on August 7th, 2022.
Yes.
Yes! It's our birthday week, sort of.
It's our birthday week. Starting this week. We'll have a birthday week. Our birthday week. My birthday on the 10th, your birthday on the 11th.
And because of time zones, it overlaps for like 9 hours.
Yeah, so we essentially just have one birthday. One big birthday.
We do.
That's gonna be the weirdest thing if we ever have like a birthday together in like the same time zone, is the realization that we're not sharing. That would be so weird.
I mean, when we're not sharing, it just means yours ends and mine begins, and we just keep the celebration going, you know?
Yeah, but still, it's so weird. I always, wait. You always tell me happy birthday, and then I wait until it's your birthday, like the time zone clicks over, and then I tell you happy birthday. It's fun. It's a weird thing we do.
We have a gimmick, yes. We also have a gimmick where we actually send each other presents.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you how much... I'm not going to tell you how much shipping cost this time. You're going to see the size of the box and be like, what have you done? But just know that the box is much lighter than it appears. It's a big box, but like it's mostly air. So it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
I don't even know if you got a box.
I did. Well, no, I got an envelope.
Yep. It's funny. She kind of dropped it on me that she had a present for me, so I had to scramble and get one for her. And now mine was there early, again, and she opened it early, again, and mine's probably going to be here late, again.
Yeah. Again, every time. Last year was the hardest, because last year I got you some, and I think I had to
Last year was
them.
bullshit.
Last year was bullshit.
Like, if there's one thing you think you can safely send somebody on another continent, it would be books via Amazon, right?
You think so? You can't.
You think so? You know what you totally can do? You can send someone Critical Role merch from a different continent store that you were already a member of because it was always cheaper than the British store until money got weird. That works fine.
Until Brexit happened?
No, Brexit kind of helped, but not quite. And then now I'm not sure whether the euro is worth exactly the same as the dollar right now, but it was close enough that it doesn't make a difference. That wouldn't have made a difference either way. The beginning problem was that they had the prices in dollars and in pounds with the same numbers, but the pound is like 1.5 times of a dollar or something. So in euros, even with shipping, the total for the first art book in the deluxe limited edition, which was like 130 or so dollars in euros, that came out ordering it from the US store, even with shipping and customs and whatever, came out like $20 less expensive than ordering it from the UK store was. So,
yeah,
you know.
You made a whole Tumblr post about this. It was like the closest
I did.
You've come to like writing investigative journalism.
I did. I put prices into the Google currency thingy and was like, hey, Euro critters, look at this bullshit. Order from the US store.
Yes.
But now we have an EU store. Everything's fine. An EU store that is close enough to me that I could technically drive there if I had a car and make a day trip out of it.
And then visit Lulathia.
No, the Lafayette is in the opposite direction.
Damn it! Visit Yasha?
Yasha is in that direction, yes.
Yeah, that is how I quantify movement in Europe. Are you going more towards Yasha or are you going more towards Lulathia?
There's two whole other cardinal directions, but hey.
Well, I don't know anyone there.
Yet. We do have a surprising amount of listeners in Poland. That would be another direction.
Yes. Anyway, I was going to say that I think the latest campaign setting book actually won an award.
The one about Aor? Or whatever?
No, I think actually the one about Tal'Dorei.
Oh, cool.
It may have been actually the one about Aor, but I know that one of the campaign settings won like a best setting award, which I thought was neat. I hope that they didn't award it for the Rolo. I made a tweet recently about about something to do with Campaign 3 and the Durolos, and somebody replied to me being like, do you think any of the Durolos are spoilers? And I said, I don't know, I stopped reading after I got to the names.
Yeah, we've been over that. But if we'll handle that and can give you prizes, who are we to judge?
Who are we to judge? I don't know. I know that you've made your peace with Kasha and Zara, but I still have it. I hold a grudge. I can be mad about it forever.
Yeah, we'll get, we haven't even met those spoilers for in a few episodes. Shut up. I think it's time we get started on this episode.
Let's get started. Hello there! Welcome to the content and spoiler warnings for episode 16 of Critical Role Campaign 1. Starting us off with the content warnings, I do want to let you know that we discussed Tiberius' behavior on Orion's mindset a little bit. It's not too detailed in this episode, but we do get into it, and if it's something that's a little uncomfortable for you, you might want to skip ahead. Also, there's a little bit of fantasy racism in this episode, and primarily if spiders are a thing for you, there's quite a bit of spiders. We try not to get into too much detail about the spiders, but oh boy, there's some spiders in this one. Additionally, as for spoilers, I don't think we discussed huge spoilers, just, I think there's a little bit of, Campaign 3 spoilers. Nothing huge, but just if you want to go into Campaign 3 unspoiled, something to keep in mind. And Orion Kappa should be in this campaign for about 11 more episodes. The part is partial. Jana didn't write it for me, which I'm very upset about. She usually writes it for me, and I can't remember anything without it. There's a little peek behind the curtain for you. So, thank you very much for joining me in the content and spoiler warnings. I hope to see you next time, and enjoy the rest of the episode. Bye! Game Tidbits.
Out of Game Tidbits. They start out with Matt's microphone being pointed the wrong direction.
Giveaways are still happening. They just got 4,200 subscribers.
Yep.
Nice.
They also have a panel at Comic-Con, which is why there won't be Critical Role for 1 week, and the week after that, Matt and Marisha are going to New Zealand. So, who knows? Depending on how long it takes us to record the next episode, we might have caught up to them in time again.
Maybe. Yeah, they are taking about a month off, really. Or, theoretically, they said that they'd be doing, other stuff, but Matt and Marisha aren't there, and, you can't have a D&D without the DM.
Yep.
I also wanted to say that it's very weird to think that, I can't quite tell if Comic-Con wasn't as huge of a thing in 2015 as it is today.
Oh, no, it was absolutely as huge of a thing. It's actually even huger of a thing. I just think they got, a very little side room.
Yeah, that makes sense, but it is weird to think that they were only 16 episodes in, and, I know that what they were getting invited for wasn't, Matthew Mercer, DM of Critical Role, it was Matthew Mercer, voice actor, but it's still weird to think that, voice actors had panels.
I think this was for Geek and Sundry specifically.
That makes more
somebody
sense, but
at Geek and Sundry put some money into getting them a panel there.
Good investment, then.
Felicia Day probably got invited to all of these things, so,
Felicia Day was everywhere. Still
and
was.
It was her company or something? I don't remember. But they got a side room panel, which is probably still online. Do I remember stuff? Is that where Pike talked, where Ashley talked about the pamphlets?
It might be.
I'm associating this with
at some point. We need to do a bonus episode where we talk about the various panels that they've done.
The Periscope highlights, how we got from, they still do panels that they now post, but they really should have started screening their questions. Probably the time somebody asked whether Ford and Jester had a daddy kink going on.
That's not what they asked, but sure.
I distinctly remember this being the question whether they had a father-daughter thing going on.
They did, but they did not ask if it was a kink thing. That was something Travis heard and took off with it.
Yet another instance of Travis and maybe Ford thinking he's a top until sex actually happens.
Oh, yeah. But yes, this is one of those episodes where I wanted to say, why are they having this episode? I know, it doesn't seem like anyone can make it. But really, it does make sense because this is the last episode with Ashley for a long time.
Yeah.
Because we started off and Liam is in prison.
Liam is in a laptop on the table and also on river time.
Apparently, whatever that means. Also,
okay, you don't know
looks. Maybe it's like an island time thing, which I'm pretty sure is problematic to say. but like means like, you know, I'm late to stuff and it's fun because I'm on vacation. But I don't really fully know what overtime means. No, I've never heard it before. Maybe it's an East Coast thing.
I think we call this Southern European socialization around here.
That's what you tell me whenever I'm late to stuff. Liam is in a laptop, and specifically he's in a laptop wearing like this bright orange t-shirt that makes him look like he's in a prison jumpsuit, and he's floating in as like a part of his parole or whatever.
Yeah, but at some point he gets a cat, so it can't be that bad.
Can't be that bad, New Jersey.
Yeah, Taliesin and Sam. Yes, Taliesin and Sam are fighting traffic.
Sam.
Yeah, Sam's also a little late, I think.
Yeah, Sam defeats traffic faster than Taliesin, which is rare because I always think that Taliesin is commuting with Matt and Marisha. So this is apparently a time in which he came by himself.
Apparently. They have a Castle Grayskull on the table. Marisha is modeling the shirt they brought out. And they actually have this little scroll in at the bottom that shows you can buy the shirt now. And scrolls over the names and art stuff of the characters, which is a little distracting.
Yes, they have quite a bit of tech problems in this episode.
Yeah, that too. I will say I really like Laura's look. She has like layered tank tops on that look really nice on her.
I didn't really notice that, but I will look back on that because like it sounds nice, and I usually get very distracted when Laura's in a tank top.
Yeah. We will also use this for one allotted per, 5 episodes moments to say something positive about Orion. There is a rather hilarious exchange when they put on the laptop on the table with Liam on it, and then Laura's like, oh, but can you still see Travis over there? And Orion is like, how can we not see him?
Yeah.
He is a mountain of a man. Which, that's a good line.
Tall.
That was funny.
Yeah, that was funny. Don't worry, we'll balance this out by saying maybe possibly more than our allotted 2 complaints about Orion per episode.
I think I only have
I definitely have 2. And I know that I'm only allowed to have 1, because we're each allowed 1 apiece. So I have to choose one specifically.
We'll get there. To be fair, I'm not going to say there's not a lot going on this episode, because that means we'll be sitting here for 4 hours. It's kind of like saying it's quiet in an emergency room, but we'll see. Anyways, so they try to start the... Are we going to talk about the guest now, or in the break, like they did?
I think let's talk about the guest now.
Okay, so that means I have to scroll. Because, during the break, they bring on a guy called Taylor Carroll, who represents his charity called Game... But Taylor is the first name. He represents his charity that brings gaming and stuff to cancer patients. And tells a story about he was diagnosed with terminal cancer a few years ago and had 2 weeks left to live, which are very long 2 weeks. And then he talks about his charity, and Orion weighs in and talks about his cancer a little bit.
Yeah, it's honestly, not to say too positive things about Orion, it's the most tolerable Orion is for a while.
Yeah. This is a good thing they're doing, and I'm pretty sure he's the driving force behind it, and that's good. Yes. Also, because whenever I hear somebody had cancer 7 years ago, but it's gone now, I get a gut punch. I looked him up.
Yeah, me too.
He is still alive. He is well and kicking. The charity is still going on. Contribute when you can. He is on Twitter. It's fine.
Yeah, good. I did have the exact same oh no. It's so hard to tell sometimes, and you're always afraid to look it up. But yeah. The long wait 2 weeks have only been longer.
Yep, those are some really long 2 weeks. He's graduated from Harvard. Harvard. Have I never said the name of this university out loud before? Harvard.
I thought you were saying that he graduated from Hogwarts, which is a different thing nowadays.
No! No, I'm self-conscious. Harvard.
Do you want me to say it?
Harvard?
I can say it.
Harvard.
Yeah, Harvard. You're saying it right. Harvard University. If it makes you feel better, it's a stupid name.
Harvard. I want to say Howard, but no, Harvard. That's the R actually matters here. Okay, Harvard. Why have I never said this before? I have written over 100k words on Gilmore Girls. I have written this word many a time before. Why can't I say this?
It's okay. It's a stupid word.
Legally Blonde was one of my favorite movies. Why can't I say the word?
Oh.
It's fine. I'm fine. It's fine. Okay. Harvard boy is still alive.
Yeah, they then try to launch the. Actually, do we want? Are we done with the guest? Okay.
Yeah. So this is like, look up his charity. Give if you can. It's a pretty cool thing. Cancer sucks. Moving on.
At this point they try to launch the intro and it freezes at the beginning.
It's just not working.
This does not work. And they kind of just hold on that for a couple minutes and then they come back to explain it. It's very apparent that, like, they don't fully understand what's wrong because, like... Yep.
Everyone is a little discombobulated.
I think Matt knows that there's no intro. I think Matt and Barisha know that there's no intro.
Yeah, but everyone Ryan tries to periscope the episode for as long as they don't have no video, but they only but the video they don't have is the pre-recorded one they're still streaming.
Yes.
And then there's a half-hearted attempt. H words just fuck me up today. There's a half-hearted attempt to reenact the opening that is going to be recreated later on to much greater success. And then they just, like, stall a bit more, and then they start.
Yeah, then they just decide to start, which I think is a good call.
Yeah. Something we should also do.
Yes. So where are we at? We're on a skyship.
We're on a skyship. We're on a skyboat.
Yes, transporting an evil horn.
That meme might have been timely at the time.
Peak meeting.
Evil horn. It works so well.
Yes.
To a temple of people who know what to do with it because the Tal'Dorei Council declared that this is not their problem, which you could argue the Temple of Bahamut is also going to declare, but hey. We reminded that last week they got attacked by some bandits who live in absolute squalor, but somehow managed to tame 2 wyverns and a griffin in that squalor, so good for them. They've adopted one of them.
Yeah, they also mentioned that one of them is the one they've adopted is a mage, which is something I didn't pick up on last episode.
Me neither. Just full on didn't notice. Like, that it just... You'd think when you are a mage and you can fly, you have better career opportunities than that.
You'd think so, at least.
You'd think so. Oh, well, yes. I don't know what the Exandria job market is like, so...
But yeah, this is where we start. We're still on the ship, on the very last tail end, the travel to Vasselheim. And we start with Laura being so happy that they saved that halfling, that mage.
And then finding out that the halfling mage is now imprisoned on the ship. But hey,
for a little bit.
She's alive.
Yeah, she's alive, and also, like, she'll have a happy ending later. We'll talk about it when it comes up. But, like, she's just happy that she saved the halfling. It's nice. Grog
is happy he grew a beard.
He's happy he grew a beard, and he does another beard check.
Yes, and now he has, like, enough beard for us to have a Grogleth moment.
Yes, we do. Keyleth tries to braid his little fishing line. Like, I'm actually really interested in this. I guess, like, he gains more pigment later on because we know that he gets a brown beard, but, like, it's kind of like fishing wire at this point. It's, like, very pale and translucent.
Yeah, for the time being. I mean, he does get some more color on his beard when Vex glues a goatee to him.
Oh, rope, yeah. But, but for now, Keyleth is braiding it, and he is letting her, even though it's putting a lot of tension on his chin. It's very cute.
Yes.
Grog,
and then we get finally a resolution to the thrilling ongoing arc of will Scanlan and Tiberius swap those items. Okay,
this
like
fucking thing. I know that, like, everyone in the comments is talking about, like, I hate Orion, but, like, this is funny. It wasn't that funny.
It's not.
And also, it's not a very good... Yeah, we can't get too into this because this is not where I'm wasting my token, but, like...
Is this me wasting my token? Maybe. I'm just here to be like, what are rules and what is your pitch? Okay, first of all, of course, the math doesn't make any sense. We are all like, I don't have to explain to you that the math doesn't make any sense. We've all been to high school, hopefully. We know how you, like, do this. Is it called a term? Is it called a term in English? We call it term in German. I don't know. I don't know English math words. The equation part you write down, not how any of this works. Also, what he's saying is essentially He can cast 2 spells around, so he needs the concentration spell thingy, whereas Scanlan runs out of spells and can only cast 1 around, so he gets the additional spell slot thing that he can cast stuff into, like the Ioun Stone. Oh, wonderful.
I also would like to note that he could have gotten this item so much easier and so much faster if he just asked for it. Just gone like, hey, I want that item.
And not be a dick about other stuff, yes. And the pitch is as follows. Hello, Scanlan. Did you notice that I like to cast my near concentration spell, and sometimes those are useful, like when I make people fly? Would be fun to cast something in addition to that. I do this a lot, and your fighting style doesn't involve many concentration spells, so how about we swap?
Done.
And this, yeah, it's pretty easy. It makes more sense than what he attempted to do, and it's also more in the rules, because technically neither of you should be able to cast 2 spell slots around.
Yes.
And by the rules that allow you to cast 2 spells around later on, Scanlan is just as capable of doing that as you are. We just didn't read the rules, did we? Of course, it still works out for them this way, so what fucking ever. And you can also absolutely tell that Sam is not convinced by this. Sam is just really into having this bit be over already.
Yeah, Sam has noticed that it's not funny anymore. I will say this to Sam. Sam is very good at telling when a joke is not funny anymore.
Yeah.
And he has decided that, trying to fight it is only going to prolong the bit. So it's just fine, I'll just let it happen. Which is how it always happens with annoying people. It's just they keep annoying you and eventually just go, whatever, I'll give you what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'll note that, basically Tiberius' whole explanation is just insulting Scanlan.
He starts out by saying he needs a slate, a chalkboard thingy, so maybe Scanlan's tiny mind can comprehend this way. Which, okay.
Okay. That's a great way to get someone to give you something that they
And the
have.
thing is, everyone reacts to this pretty much like your friend just said something kind of racist, and you're like, is this what we're doing now?
Yeah, I guess. And also it just feels, so stupid. I mean, you understand that this is not what the conversation, the argument is not really about whose items can be used more. It's, why give items to someone who's not going to help you?
That should be the conversation, yes, but
that's the sub, I don't know, that's how I always picked up, the thing that's not being said here. And the thing that's always not being said with why Scanlan isn't giving items to Tiberius is, okay, you want this item, and theoretically you say that it'll help us in combat if you have that item, but that's not going to mean shit if you don't use that item to help us. So, why should I give it to you?
If you're not around for combat, yes. But that conversation is not what we are having, because we would be having this conversation probably still to this day.
Yep.
So yeah, anyways, we do this now. Then Tiberius gets burned hard by both twins, because Vax asks if magical abilities inversely proportional to wisdom.
Which he does not understand.
No, and then also... Yeah, I also found it very funny that he's like, oh, but I'm one of the strongest casters in all of Draconia. And then at level 9, huh? Yeah, that explains why Draconia fell so easily. Yep. Sure explains a whole lot of things.
That explains why the Rabbit Knight succeeded. Yeah.
Yeah, and then... The funniest bit of this is Scanlan saying, "For men of such low wisdom, you are far wiser than I imagined." Said by the 7 wisdom gnome to the 4 wisdom sorcerer, dragonborn, whatever.
Yeah.
Scanlan's wisdom is bad. Tiberius's wisdom is laughably bad. He is less wise than Grog is stupid.
Said the pot to the kettle.
Mm-hmm.
Except that in this case, the pot is significantly less wise than the kettle.
Anyways, Scanlan then immediately does what he does with the new Ioun Stone, and also, it is so transparent that none of these people have any idea who or what Ioun is.
Not at all. They just kind of have a very monotheistic mindset to all of this, which is just oh, I have a halo, much like a god.
Which is a thing that all gods have. So, Pike, look, it's your god, even though it has literally the name of a different god. And if you hear something break in the background, don't worry about it. We have 100 episodes to go. 90. We have 90 episodes to go.
Okay. Yes.
And if you just comedically heard me drink something, I just want to make clear, it's coffee. Iced coffee. Clink, clink. Not alcohol, clink. And also stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated. I have a mug full of water from an old job. Anyway, at this point they kind of start to crest over and see Vasselheim on the horizon, and they notice some of the mountain ranges and some of the Vesper timberlands around, to which Keyleth notes this is where the Fire Ashari more or less reside. Somewhere
to
on
which
these peaks.
Keyleth remembers she has never shared her backstory with a class.
Yes, which is that she was sent to do her Aramente and visit all the other Ashari tribes to communicate and check in with them. Basically do just a mental health check with all the other tribes. Which is something that can be very dangerous, as she says, because the last person sent never came back. And the party's like, oh, well, maybe they just kind of wandered off, you know? And she's like, well, the last person was my mom.
Yeah, which offers, like, the interesting concern of that Keyleth was apparently raised from childhood on to do this, apparently ever since her mom didn't come back or something, and was thrown out to the wolves, so to speak, where she was, like, prime YA novel character age. Like, she is not much older than 20 in human years, not sure in half of years, but whatever. Whereas her mother apparently got to stay home and behind and wait with his Aramente until she had a 6-year-old daughter. Which admittedly might be the early 20s, but seems unlikely.
That's what I was... It's unlikely, but I did have the thought of like,
Do you think she just had a baby to delay her Aramente?
It's entirely possible. Like, there are two options, and like one of them is much worse than the other. So at this point, I'm pretty sure, like, she's just like, well, I'm pregnant, so like, hold on.
Neither option is really great. Like, you tell me that they couldn't find somebody else to do this except for the woman with a child?
It seems to me like it might be like a heritable role, like you... Well, I mean, like, it's not... It's implied not to be... Also, I wonder if, like, the other tribes there also have, like, their own Ashari, because it, like, their own, like, Armantes. That's something I was also thinking about. Like, why does the Air Ashari have to send their person? Don't the other tribes have people too?
We never find out about that one.
Yes.
Do you think they would have tried to send Raishan later on? Spoilers.
Oh, that would be so great. I love that AU. But really, it's a matter of just like, is it a heritable role? Is it like because her father is the chief? Or
yeah, but like, does it mean the chief's closest female relative has to do this? So his wife or his daughter? Why doesn't he have to do it? Did he do it? Is this a family activity? Could they do this as a family with 3 people? I have so many questions and none of them are going to be answered.
They're not, though. I do have like this image in my mind of like a very fun AU where like instead of just being Keyleth, it's Keyleth and her dad on this journey. Both of them. And she just gets like chaperoned around by her dad the entire time.
That is very cute.
Yes. So post to this awkward silence as the party realizes that Keyleth's mom went down on Aramente when she was 6 years old and then just never came back, and Keyleth always kind of wondered if she'd find her on the road or find what's left of her on the road. Kima comes on deck and is a full boat tour guide.
She's just like, oh, those woods, huh? And then she leaves again and everyone is like, that happened. Good talk. Like, Kima should have used this moment to like kind of brief the party on what they were walking into. We're going to get into this later. I will also say that during this they are like, so they ask Keyleth whether like she will have to fight her family or something, and then I think Vex is like, no, Grog, it's not like your family, and Grog is like, my family's nice too. We just share love with our fists.
Oof.
So many oofs.
Oofs.
Especially when you know how close to a reality that actually is. So, moving on.
Yep. But yeah, I guess Kima does tell them a couple things about, like, this is the oldest city on Earth, and...
Sorta.
So-and-so, and just be aware, it's a very holy place.
Yeah, she doesn't really specify what that means, which I think is also, like, an oversight on Matt's part.
Yes.
And it becomes kind of hilarious. For now, it starts to snow. We're in the far north and mountains. Vex is like, oh, good thing I have, like, winter clothes for everyone.
She's such
which
the
she got
leader.
At some point.
That part
Such
made
a team mom.
Yeah, that part made me laugh so much because it's so much just like everyone's coats. Put on your coats. I brought all your coats and your hats and your gloves. And it's like, of course, Vex has the coats. And like everyone,
of course, Vex knows what the status of their wardrobe is.
Yes, of course, and like everyone wants something specific. Like I think Scanlan doesn't want his coat, he wants a fancy robe, but it's just like, put on your coat, and he's like, no, I want my fancy robe. And it's just like, so very much you imagine like a kindergarten teacher trying to get all of her class to put on their winter coats before they go on recess.
Yeah, I will say that Scanlan and Vex also have another kind of cute moment earlier on when Tiberius makes the weird racist remark, and then Vex is like, his tiny mind is completely proportionate to the rest of his body, and then Scanlan is like, not all of my body, and then they like wink at each other, and it's a nice bro moment.
Sure. Yeah, not that bad.
Yeah,
it's before it becomes kind of grating and insulting, and makes you feel sad whenever they have a bro moment.
Let's just appreciate what we have right now.
Yes. But they land.
Due to inside checking and actually talking to her, the twins find out that Kima is very nervous about being back here for the first time in 8 years.
Yeah. Which kind of makes me wonder what she was doing. I guess she was just wandering around, like, essentially being an adventurer.
Pretty much. Like, pretty sure she doesn't really do well at the temple. I mean, we know that.
Yeah.
For a fact.
This is kind of where we get the first inclination of bad boy, like, she's the bad boy of the temple to Bahamut.
Oh yeah, this is the episode where we finally very firmly learn that Kima is extremely cool compared to everyone else at this temple.
You're a loose cannon, Kima, Ford.
Yeah. So they are greeted at the docking station by a scale bearer, Jan, who then, it's another cute moment, who's like, when Kima's like, oh hi Jan, he's like, call me scale bearer Jan in proper company. And then Vex is like, oh, we're not proper company, it's alright.
Yeah, it's nice. There's a couple of really fun one-liners in this episode. They've got a lot of snark going.
Yeah, and then we go into like, let's just do the lore dump here, because it's going to be a big lore dump. It's going to be happening in bits and pieces.
Take your lore dump right on the floor.
No, I don't want to anymore, thank you.
No, sorry about that. But yes, we are here. It's the city of Vasselheim.
Vasselheim, the cradle of civilization, the biggest, not the biggest, but the oldest, most important place to humanity and whatever else, and a place where the arcane is the profane.
The arcane is the profane. It's kind of got the vibe of like a Boulder, Colorado. Like
of what?
Like a ski resort town. Like
How?
All the establishments are local, and like the streets are not paved. And, like, everyone just kind of has, like, a gimmick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a ski resort.
Civilization has been here for 10,000 years, and they never bothered to pave the roads.
And they like it here. They like it that way.
Yeah, I find this fascinating. Like, first of all, it is maybe because it's how it's kind of done in European circles, it is hard to imagine something being ancient and holy, but being also not very fancy. Like, that's how Matt describes the place. It's very, like, it's old, it is functional, it is not built to look pretty or imposing, it is just old.
I admit that I can see this, but like, because the way that I've thought about it is like, oh, it's kind of like some certain parts of Jerusalem.
That makes the most sense, I suppose.
Like, if you look at, like, records of people describing Jerusalem for hundreds of years, they will describe it as kind of an ugly place.
Oh.
Like, just because it's full of, like, people. So, like, you look at, like, medieval stuff, and it's like, well, nothing's paved. Everything's, like, made of, like, very, very old stone that's, like, nowadays is considered incredibly precious, and you're not allowed to pave over it or really change it in any way. It's part of, like, the character of the place. A lot of the streets don't have, like, even paving. They have, like, cobblestones.
I know cobblestone roads. Europe is full of those.
It's just, like, I guess this is, like, a very American...
But this place doesn't even have cobblestone.
It's a very American view of, like, something like Jerusalem, I think, in that, like, Jerusalem has never been, like, a very fancy city. It's always been a very old city. It's not a fancy city.
To be fair, it is kind of hard to be fancy when you get destroyed every 150 years, roughly.
Yeah, which is why I was like, oh, I think Vasselheim is kind of meant to be, like, an American view of Jerusalem, just because,
interesting,
like,
yeah, okay.
Been, trading hands since forever, been, like, under siege every couple of hundred years, has, like, a lot of differing religious views. It's, like, the religious holy site for, like, so many different sects, and, like...
Yeah, I figured that you might have a different perspective on this, because when I think of old, fancy religious, I'm gonna get the Vatican, basically.
Yeah, and
maybe
Vatican...
Rome, maybe Greece. All places I haven't been to Rome,
say...
I've been to Italy, but not Rome. I've been to Greek ruins and stuff, and we think of that stuff as, like, being pompous and fancy and elegant looking, which might also just be... It might have just been architecture to those people. They didn't try to make it fancy. It's just how they build. I don't know enough about that to comment on that, but This is just how we view this. But yeah, the comparison to Jerusalem probably works.
Probably, not quite entirely, but it does work in certain respects. It's not a perfect one-to-one comparison, but I can see the inspiration in terms of just like holy city that's not necessarily beautiful and has been under siege, since essentially its inception. Also, I don't know, like as a fun aside, as much as like the Vatican has its problems, I will say this: I've gotten lost in the Vatican, and so if you're like,
it's funny that between the two of us, you're the one who's been to the Vatican.
Yeah, it is funny. But I've been to the Vatican for a couple of days, and like I got very, very much lost with a person who did not like me in the Vatican when I was 14. If you're lost in a city, it really helps to be lost in the Vatican. Because, like, I'm very bad at streets and, like, identifying streets, but, like, you know what I'm very good at? Identifying landmarks. And, like...
That makes Rome easy, so I've heard.
The Vatican skyline is all... Yeah, it's, like, all landmarks. Like, you can just look and be like, oh, I know that building over there. I can see it. I can just walk to that building over there. I've seen that building before.
So, you heard it here first, folks. If you have to get lost in a city, get lost in the Vatican.
Yeah, you'll be fine. It's only, like, less than a mile.
You think Paris would be similar, but it wasn't?
Nope.
Getting lost in Paris is nothing like that. You accidentally stumble across some sort of landmark at some point, but only after everyone had, like, a crisis of faith and was like, are we even still in Paris? Is this France? What is happening? We're lost forever. And this was before we had cell phones that worked abroad. Getting lost in New York is also not fun.
Nope. Getting lost in New York, though, is a whole thing, because, like, theoretically, you can find your way just because, like, the streets are numbered. But, no.
That doesn't help you if you have no idea how the numbered streets part work.
Yes, you need
It's actually more confusing.
You need to know.
I suck with numbers.
Yes. It doesn't help.
Yes. Which is funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because at some point, when describing how nobody really cares that much about the fancy box that this religious entourage is carrying through the city, Matt is like, yeah, this is just ancient New York.
It is kind of ancient New York. Also, I imagine that there's, like, it's also kind of like ancient LA. Like, if you're going out, you're just gonna see some fancy people, and, like, you're gonna, like, oh, that person, that's a celebrity. Like, it's like that, but for religious artifacts. Like, you wake up in Vasselheim, and, like, somebody's carrying a religious artifact at some point. Like, whatever.
Okay, that makes sense, because I also wanted to point out that Matt makes a point to describe the people in Vasselheim as, like, grizzled and not fancy, and, like, the fashion is to have the hair messy or something. And just, it's not a...
Which is very not New York.
It's like an ancient place that somehow managed to not become decadent or luxurious, which is also not how I think of religion, but I'm Catholic, so what can I say?
Yeah, and also this conflicts with how, like, we see Vasselheim behave politically. Like, it's so interesting to think about that, because it's a place that sort of has existed without remaining fancy, but is very isolationist. Like, very pretentious.
Yeah.
And has a very, very elevated of not willing to help other places in times of crisis, but expecting help from other places.
Yeah, because Vasselheim needs to remain.
So
yes.
It's interesting to see how, like, the people view them as, cultured, but not, but know that politically they will behave very much in the same way that you expect, say, the Vatican.
Pretty much, yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Alright, so this is, like, Vasselheim, like, culturally, and then I have another, like, thing with, which we see in this episode a little bit with the whole, the arcane is not wanted here and kept under strict control, and nowadays, you and I, dear listener, do know why that is, and the entire extended backstory of which, fragments exist at the time the episode happened, but it is also, like, the more you know about the backstory of this world, the more grating it is that none of these people seem to know anything about the world they have allegedly been living in all their life, because Vasselheim would be a fucking big deal internationally. The calamity would have been a fucking big deal that everyone would know about.
Yeah, though I will say that it happened, like, thousands of years ago, but it's like, I guess it's like the closest.
We've just talked about ancient Rome.
That's true. Or, like, I guess, like, the way that you could describe it is, like, the eruption of Pompeii.
Yeah, but we know about that.
But if it happened worldwide.
Yeah, that is very much what the calamity was. And Vasselheim was the only place to survive it. I've actually tried to do some... I mean, it's a little bit... Okay, So, some of the things said in the Calamity one-shot series, which we will now take spoilers for a little bit.
Once again, I have not watched it and do not plan to.
No, you haven't.
Don't talk to me about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to the listener, not
Talk
you.
to me about it if you feel like it. I want to yell. So, the flying city of Avalier made its way past Vasselheim just shortly before the whole shit went down, which caused the series of islands that is like... Vasselheim is like in the northwest of the map, and the place that used to be the place where Avalier from the Calamity series was like where the rest of the city was, is now on the map in like the southeast, in like a shattered teeth. There's a very badass line about it. Like only these.
It's like an island.
Yeah,
thing, right?
Only the archipelago kind of remains on the exact opposite end, basically. Which makes me wonder, how quick did the city travel? And why does it take it 7 years?
It's a very fast-moving city.
It took it 7 years to go around the ley lines once. And then while watching Calamity without having access to the map and the information that this would not be the Shattered Teeth, I actually thought, oh, they must be close to Vasselheim. That makes sense. This is where civilization started. Makes sense this would be up and running. And so there's a plot point about the Grood Ashari, which will become the Ashari, that used to contain primordials in the ground in this case. And among them was a fire primordial, and I was like, oh, so this is the rift to the fire plane that Thordek is going to come out of. So, yes. And I think that might still make sense. The Ashari are a little more to the south of the continent than Vasselheim is, like a lot more than a 2 days walk on the map when you look at it, but I mean, reverse implementation, none of this has to add up. So yeah, that. I don't know where I was going with this. Oh yeah, but it does feel a little bit very weird that these people, some characters, very educated, wouldn't know that the Calamity is kind of the reason that the one place that survived it doesn't like arcane magic. Which is something they have no concept of here right now. Like, we start this with the Scalebearer Yon saying they don't like it, and they also don't like Chromatic Dragonborn, and the first thing Tiberius does is like, oh, okay, and then he uses arcane magic to turn himself into a metallic Dragonborn. Just on the spot.
Just,
Cool.
Kind of an interesting way to do it.
Yeah. Also, none of them have any ideas about the gods, seeing as how Scandon introduces himself as the Ioun Stonebearer, no idea that Ioun is a goddess, which apparently she didn't see. But hey,
though I can understand that much, at least because Ioun's like an widely known god. You can reckon with that, like, you can make that sort of the work in a Watsonian way, I guess.
True, that is right. She has this whole gimmick of being secret. But
you can't really fit how, say, Percy Tirolo would not know
the Calamity,
Vasselheim being important.
Percy would be such a nerd about Vasselheim specifically.
Yeah. He'd want to go to Vasselheim for sure.
The boy speaks Celestial. Like, come on.
We're lucky that he didn't go to Vasselheim on, like, a summer field trip.
You probably would have studied a semester at Vasselheim if, nothing else had happened.
Things had not gone down.
Yeah. So that's a little bit weird that none of them have any idea about this place. At a later point, like, Vex awkwardly asked if, like, Tiamat exists, and it's like, I mean, yes, he's a god. We've also kind of talked about this before.
Yeah.
Like, she exists in the same way all the other gods exist. Theology is just fucked in D&D anyways.
Anyway, that was a big expansive lore dump. Let's take us back to the actual temple.
Like, they go there with some shenanigans of, like, everybody insisting they need to do, like, the security parameter for the box they're carrying, but nobody, like, cares. Keyleth flies off as an eagle because trees are moving and she needs to check it out and sees the city walls defending against some moving trees.
Yeah, Vax is like, I follow. And then, like, Vax originally plans to follow her because he's got a big crush. But then Vex is like, oh, you're gonna... Well, actually, Laura is like, you're gonna follow her out of the city city walls into the forest? And he's like, no. And he goes and gets back into the temple right before
Keyleth's not so lucky. She does this little tour and then goes back to the temple and has to, like, squeeze in through, like, an arrow hole and then is promptly arrested by the temple authorities.
Yeah, and this is where you can actually pinpoint the moment in which Keyleth starts to turn around on Kima. And it's when she's arrested, and Kima's the one to free her.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm with Kima. I'm with her. That's my friend.
Yeah, this is just, like, Vasselheim is essentially a city full of buzzkills.
Yes. Huge
But
buzzkills.
to be fair, if somebody broke into your temple while there was, like, a high-security delivery happening at the moment, wouldn't you be a little trigger-happy with the shackles? If anything, we can be glad that they kind of solved this internally and didn't hand Keyleth over to the authorities.
Which I'm pretty sure they'll do.
Oh yeah, no, if Keyleth is going to get arrested again very soon.
The the oubliette.
Oh, the Amaranthine oubliette, yes.
The Amaranthine blah 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 blah.
Oubliette, yes.
Yeah,
it's
but no,
you throw
it's
people
because
in Crusader Kings if you want to get rid of them.
there's a scene in which, like, after Keyleth gets arrested and Scanlan goes to liberate her, to free her, basically, pay her bail, the guard lets her go and he says, like, but if it happens to get us to the Amaranthine oubliette with you, and then, like, Scanlan's the Amaranthine, what? And then Matt says, the Amaranthine blah 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 blah. What's wrong with me? Go!
Harvard.
And then just kind of has, like, such a stress, flustered, induced, like aphasia. It's fun. It's gonna come up in a couple episodes, I'm pretty sure. Anyway.
23, yeah, I think. Yeah.
Kima makes sure Keyleth is not arrested, and that wins her some points.
Yep. But yeah, by now in a temple that is also simple, old, stone in a mountain, but also has, like, this great painting of a scene from the Dawn War, which I don't think is canon anymore because the Dawn War is a thing that happened in, like, D&D backstory for 4E, which is also where the Pantheon we use comes from. I didn't look it up completely, but that is how the D&D canon backstories of Bahamut and Tiamat. So that's referenced here. It doesn't really matter and doesn't play into anything ever again, because you can't monetize official D&D lore as a third party.
You can't. This is also why, like, I'm pretty sure the Horn of Orcus would have come up again, like the other Horn of Orcus, or even this Horn of Orcus would have come up again, but, like, that's copyrighted. So, I guess they're doing a very good job.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny how we just get to this giant-ass temple.
Yeah, with, like, a big mural, and everything's huge.
Yeah, and then after this, like, monologue about this, the High Bearer Vord, who Kima gets her title from, apparently, is, like, this, old man, a very prettily aged ancient elf with gravitas who checks, yes, this is an evil horn, and we are the best place to contain this, and we have the place for this. But first of all, you need to clean out our security system.
It's got spiders
is a video
in it.
game now.
Yeah, it's very much just like clean up the rats at the bottom of this tavern, but like it's a huge temple. They have a spider problem. They also, like, this is actually really fun because, like, so they meet High Bearer Vord. High Bearer Vord is kind of a pompous asshole, but, like, fine, whatever.
High Bearer Vord is proper up until he can throw a bitch under the bus.
Yes, he loves to throw a bitch under the bus.
He does this gleefully. He backs up and runs him over again.
Yes. Apparently, Jan, Scale Bearer Jan, went down to clean up the chamber and prepare it and cleanse it in order for a new holy item. By the way, they talk a lot about, like, how there used to be a previous holy item there, but they used it to protect
defend the city against one of its many sieges.
Yeah, I love that the siege just doesn't have a name.
Yeah, it's Dawn War something, 300 years ago, that nebulous conflict something, which I don't think has ever really gotten fleshed out, expanded upon, exactly. And like Keyleth's question, so sorry, so your artifact was lost, and now you're wanting to put the thing in the place where this was lost from. No, it was destroyed because we no longer needed it. But, like, would have been a good question.
Would have been a good question. I do think that the point is that, like, they took it out of the chamber to use it, and, like, they want to put something in the chamber. It's a good question.
Yes.
I think they do have an explanation. I think that this is a communication error in the fact that, like...
Yeah.
Marisha is trying to ask for an explanation for something she doesn't fully understand in the world building, and Matt is answering it through a character who is not very forthcoming and very pompous and not very communicative. So There's a clear communication barrier happening here.
And it's an excellent question. Like, if you were to hide away evilest artifact ever and would do it in a vault that has been breached before because an artifact was lost from it, it's like, why are we doing this? Good question, but no, the artifact was destroyed, it wasn't actually lost.
Yeah, the Arkham Asylum problem. Like, why would I put something there if you keep losing stuff? But yeah, it's fine, theoretically. Scalebearer Jan went down to clean it, but he saw some big, scary spiders, and he triggered the defenses and ran away. Which, like, I can't blame him for.
He is that one quest giver in the Circle Mage Tower origin of Dragon Age Origins. It's literally this quest. There's just an older lady being like, hey, yes, I am on duty to clean out this, to do inventory here, and there's spiders, and I can't deal with those spiders. Go do that for me, please.
Yeah.
And it's literally spiders. Spiders!
So, yeah, essentially their job is to be careful of the defenses and go down.
Get down there and
spiders.
Put the horn in there.
Yep.
So Vox Machina, Kima, and the entourage they had for the horn take the box and just go downstairs.
Though before they do that, Vex, of course, has to negotiate payment because she's not a stupid bitch.
Yes.
You don't do somebody else's job for free. She's smart. She knows that what they're asking of her, what they're asking them to do is essentially Scalebearer Jan's job, and you never do somebody else's job for free.
Yes. Scanlan then coming in and being like, we're a charitable organization, we spread your arms among the poor or something, that is laying it on a little thick and also...
Very thick. And lying.
Boys, are you lucky that Kima is cool about this?
Yeah, because she doesn't like Scalebearer, she doesn't like Highbearer Vord. She does not like him.
Nope.
I don't blame her.
She's not a fan of this entire organization.
He gave her his name?
Yeah. That is so weird. I don't think this is explained ever, but usually you get your, titles from places and not from, she is Lady Kima of Vord. She's his lady?
Yeah, it comes across as, very,
Is Vord a name or a title, or... It's weird.
It's not the Handmistress. The
Handmaid's Tale.
I'm sorry.
Handmaid.
The Handmaid's Tale? The Handmaid's Tale? Sorry, I've never watched or read this.
Handmaid.
But I know that they don't have names.
Watched it. Partially. Right. Oh my god, that's what you... Oh. Yeah, because their names is off French or something.
And that's kind of what Kima has. I mean, she has a name, but it's Kima of this dude. Of this guy. It's Kima who belongs to this guy. It's weird. If it was a Kima who was taught by this guy, or Kima, this guy's student, maybe, which I think is the implication.
This guy's part of this guy's guard entourage, or he has an order of his garter or something.
Yeah, that would make a little bit more sense, but the fact that it's her last name and that it's
it's not explained.
It's literally Kima of Vord is
Why is she of Vord? Why isn't she a scale bearer or anything? It's just...
It's really
weird.
The vibes are bad, and I don't blame her for being lie to this guy, I don't care. Fuck this dude.
Sure. Yeah, she kind of gets a jab in at Scanlan about how if he's such a holy man, how did he get such swollen appendages? And it's it's a blessing or something. It's
not sexual harassment.
It sure was, but making jokes about it can be helpful, I hear.
Apparently, with the person who's done it to you. Apparently.
When you yourself are the one making the jokes about it. Whatever. We know they didn't think about it this deeply. It's our reading years later. It's, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways. So now we're going down the stairs, into the basement, to clean it out.
Yes. Down they go.
Taliesin has arrived in the meantime. He's at the table. He's wearing a very cool skeleton shirt.
Yeah. Barisha, Keyleth is Percy, why are you being so quiet? He says, I don't want to talk about it.
He's also teacher, did I finish my book? So now he has a sexy 22 dexterity.
The most Percy thing to say is, teacher, did I have time to finish my book? It's just... you fucking nerd. I love this boy.
Yeah. So the first, this is a 3-room kind of thing. And the first room they make it through is just filled with fog and dragon statues, and they breathe fire at you when you have touched the fog. So a wind cantrip gets them through.
Yeah, They get it done quick. It takes a little bit longer than you think. I think there's like a whole thing about like you can move the statues. They don't really do that.
They just walk through.
Yeah, they just walk through. It's fine.
Did we just... Oh, we did skip the earring theft.
Oh, the earring theft. We already had one complaint about earrings, so I'm not going to go into it, but like, it is very annoying that he just like takes Vex's earring and like
he just plucks it right out of her ear.
Yeah, and like Laura points out, I was like, you don't even ask for it? Like, you just take it and you just reassign it to someone else? Like, did you just like take it out of my ear? It's like, yeah. That's what he does. And it's just like the way that like Orion just feels like in this episode in particular feels like so like all the items are really his and he's just getting to reassign them however he sees fit, and like it's deeply aggravating.
Dick move. Don't yank things out of people's ears.
The problem is like to me is like his items are so much his items that he needs his own bag of holding to hold them, but other people's items are items that other people's hold are just fine for him to, take or trade or do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
It's stupid. Also, it's mean. Also, like, his justification doesn't even make sense, because his justification is that, like, Vex is always with the party, but Grog isn't. And, like, sure, Grog runs ahead.
But you can kind of, like, Grog never runs that far ahead, and you can kind of hear and see him.
Yeah, and Vex stealths.
Vex stealths, and his argument is that the ranged characters should stay back. Yeah, but if all ranged characters stay back in the same place, you know what happens to that place? Stuff gets thrown there. You split up.
Yes, and also, like, Vex in particular is a tracker. She goes and she, like, that's in stealth. Like, it makes sense for her to have an item. Like,
it's what they do.
Also, like, range doesn't necessarily mean far. Like, sometimes it means far back. Like, hey, not with the party far back. Like, hey, what happened in the Vorga hunt? Vex was literally on a different side of the map than the rest of the party.
Yeah, you mean Vorgal, right?
Yeah, I said Vorgal.
Yes, but sometimes you get the dragon names confused. But this is a good example where she gets a cubby, Percy gets a cubby, and they just fire from two completely different sides. But it's also good to like coordinate and shoot at the same thing at the same time.
Like they do in this
not
episode.
Have both snipers. Yes, but to not have both snipers taken out with one errant attack towards where the things are firing from, which is why you don't put all your sharpshooters into one cubby.
Yes. Unless they want to. Unless they're cuddling in there.
The time and the place.
Yes. But but my point is this just like ranged attack. Ranged fighter doesn't mean close fighter. It means ranged fighter. It means high range, high mobility. Like, range. It's a ranger.
Yeah.
You range. It's a ranger.
She ranges. She ranges.
Her job is arranging. She does ranging for a job. Am I making sense? I think I'm losing myself.
No, I completely understand what you're saying, but also, I mean...
Yes.
We're in this together.
Yes. Anyway, I can't...
Our way of communicating is like...
It's so janky. But yeah, I think that...
We're also just like this. Like, I can send you screenshots from us just being exactly like this when we just talk to each other.
Yes.
Outside of a podcast.
Once you are friends with someone for a certain amount of years, you just, like... I think it's past the 3-year mark, you just lose the ability to communicate coherently.
And we're like on year 4
I think
and a half or something.
4.5-ish. Yeah, because...
We were definitely talking in 2018.
Yeah.
So...
I got Leo a little bit before.
I was in prison in summer of 2018, and we were talking regularly enough that you kept track of the bus to prison each morning, so...
Yeah, I made you a graph.
Mm-hmm. So we were kind of talking closely talking at this point.
Yep. So we're broken. Anyway.
So the next
room number 2.
Room number 2 has pressure plates. And then Vex was totally like, boots of haste, I'm gonna go in there. And Vex was like, should we just throw something in there to see what it does? And he's like, yes, me. Which is fucking stupid. But you do you.
It's fucking stupid, but I kind of love it. It's like the kind of stupid that I'm really endeared by, mostly because like...
This is like Vax. The most Vax thing you can do.
Yeah, and it's just like damage just to him. It's just Vax being a little pinball, being like, throw me at the biggest obstacle in the room, and we'll see what happens. Which is exactly what happens.
Yeah.
He throws himself at the obstacle, and he gets smashed.
Yeah. He takes 40 points of damage. This would kill like a level 5 character, maybe. Kinda.
Yeah. Then he, like, breaks his ribs.
Yeah, he just gets smushed against the ceiling by pillars that just do the thing and go up. But his time as a pinball in that makes him see that there's like a little hole in the ceiling, and if you do something with that, you can turn the pillars off, which is how we get the best scene of the episode.
Yes.
Yes.
The sexy shooting competition.
Race you to it.
Yeah. You're much more powerful than I am, Percy. Winky face, winky face, winky face.
They're
very flirty about this.
Yep, they are extremely flirty. It is very, very cute.
Yeah. Essentially, just to explain, because we just dropped this without any context, Percy and Vex, being the sharpshooters of the party, want both to take pot shots at the little latch at the end of the chamber that will basically stop the obstacles, like the little like pillars of the earth that can't come and smash them.
Yeah.
But they need to decide who does it first.
Mm-hmm.
And Percy kind of wants to do it first, but like...
But Vex is like, you're just going to break it because you're much more powerful than I am, Percy.
And also he shoots a gun, which is like...
Yeah.
It definitely makes more sense.
Yeah, this chamber was probably not designed to be disabled with gun.
Yes. Nothing in this world is designed to be disabled with gun. It's very new.
Yep.
But yeah, they just kind of flirt about it for a little bit, about who gets to shoot first and who gets to shoot second.
And then the entire party,
fun.
And then the entire party gets really excited into getting Vex prepped for the best shot of her life. Keyleth remembers halfway through that she can't actually boost attack rolls, but she does it anyways. And then Scanlan does one of his better songs.
Shut up and shoot that hole.
Your error is my destiny. I say, ooh, shut up and shoot that hole. Which is one of my favorite songs.
And like Laura's grooving to it.
Everyone is grooving to it. Everyone is singing. This is what people like. I think this is what they got wrong about Scanlan's appeal. It's not that the funny man sings a song is what's good. What's good is that everyone hypes him up and sings along with it, and we have this little group moment, which is actually motivational.
Yeah, which kind of makes me hope that, like, at some point there'll be, like, a Legend of Vox Machina musical episode.
When they just actually sing along with him?
Yeah! Everyone sings along with him.
Yeah, because that's what would make these moments fun and beautiful. Not the little man sings funny song about anal beads.
Except when he's singing Britney Spears and he's singing alone. That part is also fun.
Oh yeah, that is a hands down his best song too.
Yes. There's two ways to do a good Scanlan song. One is to do a song that's not necessarily clever, but everyone can pick up on in 2.5 seconds, and then everybody sings with it, which just feels to me like such like the quintessential bard thing to do, is like sing a song that's kind of stupid, but just kind of makes everybody want to sing along with it. Like it's the coin for your Witcher thing.
Oh, not quite. I don't think the toss a coin for your Witcher hits the same mark. But the songs in that show were used very differently and very expositionally, and better than they did on the Legend of Vox Machina.
It's definitely very catchy.
It is. Anyway, so everyone gets into the groove. Vex rolls really high for it. With inspiration, she rolls a grand total of a 35. Everyone is super hyped for this impossible shot at an angle she just made. And then... Here comes the second Orion. Orion casts a little cantrip to... I think it just goes for his telekinesis spell again to move the arrow the way it's supposed to go, or the way he was already going.
I was wondering if it was telekinesis or like a buff of wind or something, but it's just a telekinesis spell, and he uses it to like nudge the arrow into place.
He makes the puff of wind noises, but he always makes those noises for every spell he casts. He's... You know?
Yeah. And Matt makes him roll for it. He rolls like a 17, and he...
Decidedly less hype, but Orion is super hyped by this. Everyone else is like, okay.
And, like, this is one of the few moments where I think it's really interesting. Like, I think the dynamics here what's going on are like, psychologically very interesting, because, like, it's a moment in which, like, even Laura, who is not one to speaks up about this and is like, just let me do it, man. Like, it was already going to happen, and she rolled, like, a 35. Like, it is impossible to not succeed with that high. Like, even if it was, like, a nearly impossible shot, it's a 35.
Impossible ends at 30.
Everyone's really hyped for her. Yes.
Yeah.
everyone was really hyped for her. Everyone was really excited. Matt was already describing it succeeding, and like...
Yeah, and Ryan is just completely not reading the room and feels like he needs to do something, and then he even asks for, like... He asked for assurance later on that, oh yeah, but it wouldn't have worked, right? And then everyone is like, It
would have worked. And also, it's just like, he says something here that I find really interesting, and that what he says is, if it was going to succeed anyway, it might as well. Like, if it was going there anyway, it might as well. And I find that to be, like, really interesting, because what it says to me is, like, a full understanding of why this doesn't. Like, not why this does not matter, but why this doesn't matter to him. Is, like, his thought process here is, if it was going to succeed anyway, it might as well have been a success for me.
Yeah. The plot might not commence without my involvement.
Yeah, and it's just like a full understanding of, like, whenever they tell him, like, not everyone you can't have the guitar solo every single time, as Liam says, it's that I think that, like, in his little brain, in his little, his abuser brain, he can have the guitar solo every single time. And that's how it should be.
If there's a guitar solo, it should be his. And is this a guitar solo? No.
And, like, that's why, like, telling him just let me have it doesn't work. And that's why it doesn't register for him. It doesn't really click in place because, like, there's nothing wrong about this to him.
You're
it's
getting
not a transgression
very psychoanalytical right now.
I know, I've just got into, like, this like, moment where I was just, like, thinking, like, oh, it makes sense to me now. Like, this whole thing is happening because, like, he just can't conceive of, like, a thing in which other people can have, like, a moment in the spotlight. It doesn't, like, I don't know. I got really, like, caught up in, like, how you can just tell, like, this doesn't register for him. I don't know. I don't know if that's something you can fix.
It's also, like, plainly obvious that he is still hyped after this. Everyone else is like, just, the energy is just gone for everyone but him.
Yeah, I don't know.
What?
All
so,
right.
like...
So we come back from break.
We haven't even gone to break, have we?
We haven't even gone to break?
I don't know.
Pretty much this is the point where they go to break.
This is the point where they go to break and have the interlude with Taylor Carroll you put at the start of the episode. We also see Marisha's pants briefly. She wears, like, galaxy leggings, which look very nice.
They do. They look really nice.
And then... For the first time ever, after they are done with the bit about the charity, this Zach Snugglelord says, "Go to drop camp, Lucas." Lucas. And after like a few beats, we actually do go to a drop camp, and now we can spy on the cast during the break in the little set they are on,
which never stops being creepy.
It is creepy. It's creepy. It's voyeuristic. It is infinitely preferable over watching the character introductions again.
Yes, and also I have a couple things to say about it. Number one is that I was kind of wondering, like, if the drop cam started to be a thing. Like, did it start intentionally? Were they always planning on it?
Yeah. I was also wondering that. Do they do it now because the insert videos don't work? Is this like, did this happen because the other thing wasn't working and that's how we got here? Or is this just a thing they were doing for other shows already? I mean, you don't just have, like, a camera there, do you?
No, but, like, I wonder if it was just, like, a camera that they were using for other stuff. Like, it just was, like, a drop cam that they already had in that set. Because it doesn't seem like the set that they're in is, like, prepared for this that much.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they just sort of had that camera running in case they needed it, and they were just like, just go to... Like, I didn't know if that's the thing I was wondering, were they planning on already using that camera for this Critical Role set, or was it just, like, already there and working, and they just kind of transitioned to it because it was a replacement? And I don't know.
Good question. So...
The other thing is that you can watch a couple of times. Were you going to say this also? Them talking to Liam?
Yes, the first thing, like, at first we see, like, Laura bend over at the table talking to Liam on the laptop.
Yeah, it's kind of cute.
Yeah, and also, like, this has the advantage you can also tell when the break is about to end, which, like, nowadays we have the timer, because everything is pre-recorded, so they can just give you a timer of when the break is over. But back in the day...
Which I'm still a little sad about.
Yeah, but back in the day, we just had no idea how long a break was going to take. We were cutting to break, you got loud music, thank you for sharing with us your incredible art, and then you just got the incredible art with the Pillars of Eternity soundtrack for however long it took.
Twin Pines? Yeah. Twin Elms?
Yeah. I think that's what it's called. I never made it that far in the game. I find the first one a little tedious to play through. Don't tell Christine I said that. I like the second one. Yeah. So now you can kind of tell when everyone starts moving back to the table and just sitting down, and then they're looking at the camera. You don't see anyone counting, I don't think, but you know when the break is over.
Yeah, because everyone's taking a seat.
Yeah.
And so they just kind of go back. Hang on, I'm trying to find our place.
Sam tries a flute again.
Yes, this is at this point where they start to run into a bunch of spiders, or at least the first inclination that there are spiders here.
Yes, because there are spider webs, like in every scary little basement. Just giant ass spider webs that they kind of have to whack away with, like, yeah, they use the word whacker, which makes me think of the word weed whacker, which makes me think of Manscaped ads.
Have you gotten the one already where it's like a guy trying to shave a kiwi and he just crushes the kiwi and it just made me flinch badly?
I only get like, when YouTubers I watch advertises and tell you all about how wonderful aerated their crotches are right now, you know? I don't really get ads for that. I get ads for, furniture, I get ads for security cameras, always in German. Sometimes, no, Eminem has yelled at me today twice while watching this episode. Wow. Ever since Pride Month ended, there haven't been any more ads for Come Visit Hungary, which makes me think this was targeted. Not cool, YouTube. But now they're telling me to go come visit Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, which, like, no thank you?
Not right now.
Yeah, like, selling this as a holiday destination with, like, amazing beaches and whatever awesome vacation is, like, very rarely a time when you can do that, huh?
No. Anyway, Keyleth spends a spell slot for Pass Without a Trace.
I still want to get sponsored by Manscaped is the thing. I want to get sponsored by Manscaped. I know we're not the target audience, but there are men in our audience, I know that. And I have stories about why properly shaving those areas is important.
At least one or two.
For men. Make me talk about the few slutty things I know. Okay. And pay me for it.
For men. What is the thing that you would say, like the lusty harlot brain?
Not even. But more of my lusty harlot days.
Okay.
Not even. Oh well.
I just like that phrasing.
Yes, very much so. Back to the actual episode, because we're not being paid by anyone else but our wonderful patrons.
Not yet.
Who would probably like for us to get on with this.
Okay.
Yeah. Spider webs.
Yeah, spider webs.
Try to stealth around.
Spell slot for Pass Without a Trace.
This is the literal episode where they all figure out, wait, Vex can cast spells, but apparently not that she should be casting Cast Without a Trace. Not that it becomes, like, important here, yes. The combat encounters are very short, and not very spell-heavy, but, like, still, Keyleth could be using way better things with her spell slots than casting Pass Without a Trace. That's what you have Vex for.
When is the thing with the... She can cast spells? Yes, she's a ranger. Well, when she's in range. That was terrible. Because that exchange is just very fun. I love that it also happens all in character.
Yeah.
Percy DeRollo.
He made dad jokes before he was a dad.
Yes, he was also a furry, but he was... sorry.
That is way later.
Furry before he was a dad. That's way later. There's a giant spider.
Yep,
there it is.
There are some spiders whom they fight, and, like, we can't, like, even a play-by-play of this combat would be over very quickly, because these are just random spiders, and they just take those out. Not after taking some, like... The spiders can, like, teleport, and they look weird.
Yeah, there's a whole thing about how, like... Actually, I think there is one interesting thing where, like, there's, Keyleth rolls a natural 20 on identifying them, and Matt just kind of has a moment where it seems like, oh no, he just doesn't know very much about spiders to tell her. Like, he's not a spider master. But he eventually just manages to get across that these are, kind of like blank spiders. They kind of go in and out of planes. Just how they got here.
Which, to be fair, if you can just plane shift into this basement, is maybe like a giant security lab. Gap.
But maybe only spiders can do it.
Maybe only special spiders.
And also that they have poison, and that maybe if Keyleth wants that poison, she can get that poison. They actually finished this combat so quickly that Scanlan doesn't even get to have, like, a turn.
Yeah, no, like, it just lasts long enough for the spiders to deal a fair amount of poison damage to Percy and Vex, and then it's over. And Keyleth takes out, like, poison glands and gives them to the twins. She gives gifts.
Yes, that part is really cute. That part is very much, like, you could tell the difference between the twins because Vex is like, thanks, alright. And Vax is like, actually takes the poison glands because he's a sap.
You mean a simp?
And they talk of it, he's a simp. Yes, he is. And they plan on making poison arrows with them later.
Yeah.
This is also funny because Percy wants some healing, and Scanlan and Vex then immediately tell him to suck it up because, like, even at his most damaged poison state, he's got more hit points than both of them have after healing.
Not quite more, but, like, still a sizable amount. Like, Scanlan has more hit points. Like, for Scanlan, it will also be, like, damage, but Vex does not. Maybe this campaign, Liam will be the first to crack the 100 hit points.
Maybe. Who can say?
Maybe this time.
So, damage kind of, like, this combat kind of wraps up quickly, but there are still more spiders to be fought.
2 things I wanted to point out beforehand. There's, like, one point when they come back from... when they start the combat and, like, Matt asks for initiative and Liam is just not at the table. He returns with a cat, but he's just like, but Matt is like, okay, we'll consider this low initiative. And another moment where Vex tries to aiming a conjure barrage and Matt is like, well, if you do it from there, you're gonna hit Tiberius. And then Travis is like, yes!
Good. Yes. Travis is correct.
Travis, as always, has the best, mention Kentness. He might have the highest insight score.
This is not the Chubb episode, but we're getting there.
Whatever. Moving on. They move on to the next room where there is, like, in the middle there's, like, the chamber for the horn that they manage to open with like a Bahamut symbol. On the other side, there's spiders, and to stop the spiders from attacking them, like, on one side, Vex casts, like, a spikes spell, and on the other side, Scanlan casts the stinking cloud thing.
Yes.
Which made me wonder whether spiders can actually smell, and it turns out they can. With their legs.
Yay! Fun stuff. At some point, Keyleth cuddles up to what she thinks is Trinket, but it's Percy, and he says that he's furry, but he's not Trinket.
Which, thanks for that,
Furry, Percy confirmed.
Thanks for that.
Thank you.
It's what we needed.
Thanks. Yes.
Grog is extremely stealthy, and then Tiberius is so like, stealthy. He has to add on to this, and then just draws from his deck of illusions, which gives us, like, 2 female Tiberiuses, a succubus and a giant. And,
I did wonder what a female Dragonborn would be, because you can't imagine it with, like, having, like, big, anime titties, because they don't.
They would not. There would be no titties on this lizard.
Nope, none whatsoever. If any, like, Dragonborn would have titties, by the way, it would be the males.
And there would be, like, big throatal glands thingy, right? That, like,
they would be, like, inflatable.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, they would, like, swirl and turn black with aggression.
Yep. So the bigger the throat titties are, the more angry the Dragonborn is.
That's what we know. We know that. Good to learn about the other humanoid races.
I'm pretty sure this was also a Tumblr post in 2016.
Probably. Kiva opens a central chamber that they then stealth into, up until Pike does not stealth.
Pike does not stealth. It doesn't really matter. They place the horn inside there. The chamber starts closing, they all have to rush out, which is fucking terrifying. Yes. And it's kind of funny because then, like, giant, they call them golems, which, do you have anything to say on that?
I mean, this is just a problem I have with D&D in general, and I've already talked about it.
Alright.
Like, that's not what a golem is.
Yeah. And it's...
to say a construct.
Yeah, and also it's kind of interesting that they only get activated after the inner sanctum has already been breached once.
Yeah. Feels like a preventative. Like they should be a preventative, not a reactive,
Yeah. I mean, you can argue that they now react because there's something in there, but how do they, like, think this got in there? It's a little weird. Anyways, so we have these constructs, and we have more spiders, and then everyone has to, like, book it out because those constructs mean business, and they just, like, deal a high amount of damage to, I think, Kima, who is the first one to fail the dexterity check.
Yes.
There's a really fun moment where Matt is, like, double checking when Pike is like, oh, I rolled above 10. Pike, really? Yeah, it's a 14.
Really? Yes.
Everyone's very proud.
Oh, baby. They're all very proud of her. She's so dexterous.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
And
baby.
Then they just run out of the chamber. And nothing, like, they call it a skill challenge. Yeah, Kima gets hit once, and one of the people accompanying them gets hit once, and Grog actually fails a check in the mist chamber, the first one again, and that's how he loses the rest of his beard.
Oh, yes. Well, that's technically Laura's fault.
Technically, it's Laura's fault.
She talks about this. She's like, oh, is your beard singed off? And then you see Matt just, oh, he loves this. He loves this.
And then his beard is singed off.
Including the fake beard fell off earlier, but yes.
Yeah, he gave the fake beard to Vex, and she was like, oh, I'm going to put this on the arrow for good luck, and then she actually kept it, but he doesn't want it back.
He's such a fussy baby sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't want it anymore.
Yeah. Kima figures out that pointing the Bahamut signal at the construct makes them stop, which it should, and then everyone is like, maybe try that first next time.
There's also the part where Kima doesn't make it, and one of the Guardians chucks her.
Yeah.
You've already mentioned this, but it's just very funny, and it made me think of like, oh, Kima.
Oh, Kima.
Oh, Kima.
Oh, Kima.
Every time, Kima.
Every time.
Anyway.
Yes?
They kind of place the horn, they're out, and that's kind of it. They get their money.
Yeah. Yeah, they get their money, and then Hyberov Ward is an asshole, but he kind of has to be, and is like, oh, by the way, you there, small gnome, you are filled with the holy powers of the Dawn Flower, which is
Hold on there, small gnome. I sense that your player has a contract.
I sense that you will be gone from the table for the next 4 years.
Enough, not consecutive, but yes.
Yes. Yeah. So, and this is literally just what happens. Like, it's just a very quick, oh, there's this Serenray temple. Serenray. And then they all go there, and then Pike has to stay there because Ashley is off to film her TV show.
You did the Vax thing!
And they also, have to...
There's a couple of things that interest me about this. I'm not going to go into them, just because, I feel like it's appropriate. They're rushing through this to catch a flight.
Yep.
So we should also rush through it to catch a flight. Not that I have a flight.
No time to get emotional. Keep it moving.
Keep it snappy choppy. Everyone said there's only 3 people in that temple, which is I find so interesting. It's just 3 whole people. Oh, this religion is not doing so well. And also, it feels like Vasselheim is a terrible place if you have very few people recruit people to your religion, because everyone in Vasselheim already has a religion.
To be fair, yeah, that's true. That is true. Everyone in Vasselheim should have a religion, but I think there's also just, regular people there who don't feel strongly either way. And also, these gods that they have there, including Serenray, they aren't really in conflict with each other. So you don't have to, choose for one or the other. You choose to serve one, but that doesn't mean, they're at odds with each other. So they kind of coexist.
It's monogamy.
I'm not sure you're using the term correctly.
You don't hate all the other gods, you just choose one.
Okay, cool.
The other thing that I thought was interesting was that when they come to visit the temple, one of the people rushes out and is like, no, please don't loot us. And it's like, does Vasselheim have looters?
I mean, Vasselheim apparently has an underground belly for, a Rakshasa to do murders and to sell gnome shoes. So, I mean, it's still a city. They don't have the class, but they probably still have crime.
That's true. I guess you're right. I was just wondering, man, that's kind of a weird place to have, people rob temples, is, the temple city. But I guess that is what you, if you have a city full of temples...
And I will say, I can totally imagine that, the 5 cool kids kind of bully the less cool kids, and Serenray would be one of the less cool kids.
Such a non-cool kid, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where they lose Ashley.
Yeah, they have no time to get emotional, just, we gotta be on those flights. Good night. Bye.
They get a little emotional. They do a cool handshake. They Ashley kind of cheers up a little, and she says that she'll be back, and they say goodbye. It's very sad, but we know she'll be back, and it's
little did they know that the show for some reason ran for 5 seasons or something.
Yep.
How did that happen? I don't know anyone who actually watched it.
I don't know.
The only times I saw gift sets on Tumblr for it, and Tumblr has gift sets for every show.
When they were Critical Role?
Yes! Was when Ashley had the Critical Role mug on the show. Then when people got excited about the show briefly, but nobody was talking about it.
There's also a bit where she says, I play a gnome cleric, actually, in the show. And then, that part I've seen gifts.
Yep. Those are the 2 gifts we've seen of this show. Nothing else. If there was, a woman with tattoos or something, I don't know.
And that's basically the show.
Which is, this is a 1-season gimmick if I've ever heard one.
Yep. It's basically could have been a movie.
Probably, yes. Probably should have been a movie. I mean... Ashley probably made a fair amount of money for it, so good for her, but
Yeah, good for her. Get that paycheck.
Yep.
Get that money. But yes, speaking of that being the show, that's essentially the episode. They don't really have very much after. It's only a couple minutes short of 3 hours.
Yeah, and that includes the break, so... And we're just a minute short of 2 hours of recording right now, so we stayed in time.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, no, we have one more thing left. Our one last gimmick. Oh god. We're even... Yeah. It's even really topical because we are in his hometown. Sorta.
Yes, we are. We are in our local boy, our wonderful, our topical, our exuberant.
Chop chop, we need to catch a flight.
Purvan Scale.
Purvan Scale, a joke that makes way more sense to way more people now after Calamity. I suppose.
Alright.
Okay.
What does the P in P... What is the P in P... What does the P in Purvan stand for?
The P in Purvan
Jana
presents the word pizzazz.
Yes. So what are we giving this episode in terms of pizzazz?
Hard to say. Like, they had, like, I found the little gimmick where they had the ad for the shirt just roll into the screen on the bottom. Extremely annoying.
Yeah, no, that one wasn't good. But I did find, like, do we want to give them, like, pizzazz points for, like, the charity? Because that seems kind of nice.
If we put the charity in here, yeah, that gets points. That absolutely gets points. I would also say that I find the drop cam so much more bearable than the intros. For the gajillionth time.
Yeah, we're gonna eventually not like the drop cam, but for the first episode it is fun. So
I mean,
like...
also, for now, we also have, like, just a drop cam that kind of shows the set, and we're not like, the set in a tiny sort of screen on a weird graphic that somebody did in Paint or something. Like...
It's not a Saw room, no.
Yeah, like, before we got the art crawl, which the one good thing Matthew Colville ever contributed to all of this, before we got the art crawl, it got dire.
Yes.
It got so dire.
We got a little desperate. So I'm leaning on like a 1.5 or maybe 2.
Yeah, maybe the charity puts it towards a 2, I would say.
Okay, so 2 points for pizzazz.
Your turn.
U in Purvan stands for uncomfortableness. Uncomfortableness.
We had some instance of fantasy racism here, references to sexual assault, but like they don't really treat it like that, even though it totally was.
And like the 35 attack thing is
deeply uncomfortable.
It made me want to cringe out of my own skin, and in a bad way. Not
entirely sure
like...
this counts into this again.
I mean, I wasn't comfortable. But yeah, this probably actually goes to detract points from vexiness. So.
Which feels mean, like might punish for outside influences, but it's probably more accurate. Yes.
Yeah. So. Not that much uncomfortableness.
-1.
Just Orion being annoying. -1.
Yep. Which puts us as a 1. Alright. So the R is for role-playing realness.
I really liked the Keyleth monologue in this.
True. Yes, the Keyleth monologue and everybody reacting in character, and then Grog with his little "my family was nice." I was like, there were nice character moments here. They were just like sparse. So like half a point.
It was kind of a sparse episode in general. Yeah, there was nothing that stood out to me as really good roleplay, but there was nothing that stood out to me as bad roleplay.
Yeah, like, it might feel like we spent a lot of time talking about Vasselheim in this, just in the abstract, but that's because most of this episode was taken up by Matt describing Vasselheim in the abstract.
Which is, I guess, in a sense, a kind of roleplay, but it feels, like, not quite right.
Not what it goes on here, this was just an explanation for why there is, like, very little to talk about here, so half a point?
Half a point.
Half a point. Then this would be yours.
Oh, shit. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, my bad.
Well-oiled machine.
The V in Purvan stands for vexiness, which in this case is really hard to quantify because there's a couple of really good Vex moments in this. I really like the Persalia moment.
The flirting.
I really like Vex action. I do actually really enjoy Vex like haggling and her having the coats, though they are smaller moments.
The thing is, haggling with the holy person in a temple makes me a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, but this guy sucks. And this temple sucks. And this city fucking blows.
I'm Catholic. I can't help it.
Yeah, but this city fucking blows. Like, if you're gonna haggle from anyone, haggle from the Vatican. Yeah, okay, I'm okay with that.
And that's good for you.
This is what happens when you're Jewish. Fuck those guys. They stole my money. Give us the menorah back.
That is literally the nicest thing these guys took from you, yes.
Yes. I'm mostly joking, but I just feel like it's a fun thing. Vexiness. It's fine. I do though want to kind of discuss how do we detract points for a Vexy moment, like a Vex moment that like goes awry, or because it feels like that is kind of what happened here.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an amazing hype moment that just got sucked the entire air out of it because someone needed to participate.
Yep. And that feels like something that happens a lot with Vex, not only with Orion, but also with like Vax.
Yeah.
With Vax moments.
Oh yeah.
People share the spotlight, and is a problem that is only going to become more and more of a thing as the campaign goes on.
True.
So we need to...
True. So I suppose this is the category where we would dock points for that, huh?
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe if we give like a plus originally, and then we detract how many points?
I mean, I was going to give it like 1.5 points here, and then dock half a point.
Okay, that seems more fair. All right, let's say
so we're at 1 point.
So we're at 1 point. I'm okay with that.
So we give 1 point, which gives us a total of 2.5?
Yes.
Yeah.
And before I get to philosophizing again, your turn.
The A is for action, which, I mean, they did fight some spiders, but this is barely combat. This feels like an unapplicable.
It's barely combat, but I do actually like the skill challenges a little bit, like the baby skill challenges. I don't think it's bad, and like I don't think it's. I kind of want to give it like a positive half a point. Like I enjoyed it.
Then let's give it half a point. Sure, me not so much, but there were extenuating circumstances, so half a point, which puts us at a 3.
Yeah, finally 9 cents.
And this, I feel, is the first time we can apply this fairly, because what if not 9 cents was it when half the party decided, oh, we need to fan out, go on the roofs, fly away as an eagle on this escort mission.
No, yeah, you're right, that's 9 cents.
Adds nothing,
9 cents.
helps no one, derails the entire thing.
Confusing.
This is what I mean.
And weird. And
it's just doing a thing.
Just kind of gave Matt more work.
Yeah, it's like kind of made Matt have to wrangle somebody in there in unfortunate circumstances that detracted from the main point and could have screwed the entire party over in a way, or at least one character in with repercussions if Matt was that kind of DM. And was just, no.
And we didn't even get that much good, reconnaissance.
It didn't even do anything.
So yeah, I agree. I do think this counts as 9 cents.
Yep, this is what I meant when I came up with this category.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're fully correct. This is a category 1 or category 2 9 cents.
Yeah, just the moments that are completely unnecessary kind of make you roll your eyes, but somebody got to do their gimmick. Which isn't even, it sounds like meaner to Keyleth than it was supposed to be. It was actually kind of cute how she got distracted and stuff.
Yep, but if anything, this is mean to Vax, who, did it and then, backtracked, and actually kind of mean to Vex, too, because she also did this.
Yeah. So, it is applicable, but it's not it. The good part is that it was over quickly. It kind of makes you cringe for the minute it is happening, but then it's okay.
The good part is that it leads into the countdown of times that Keyleth was arrested.
Yeah, that is true.
So, a -2?
Well, that's a lot.
-1?
Yeah, I think a -1, which puts us at a 2 total. That feels correct for this episode.
That feels correct. It's a category 1 9 cents.
Yeah.
And
no grudge, people were harmed during the making of this 9 cents.
Alright, so a 2. Yeah, a 2 feels about right. This feels very much like a little bite-sized episode. I enjoyed it fine. I didn't hate it. I wanted to watch more.
Yeah, and I was correct in saying that we have not a lot to talk about this episode. I have one final point I want to discuss.
Yes.
Oh boy. Because this is, we've mentioned before. God, you should just kind of insert this before the Purvan Scale, huh? Though it is kind of final, so that makes sense. I noticed that the episode after this, and the new and improved thumbnails, has a different color. So apparently next episode is the start of a new saga, according to whoever came up with this.
Not this episode?
And I call bullshit. No, not this one.
Not the one before?
Nope.
Wow, that is bullshit.
I mean, that is bullshit.
It's this is basically the Vasselheim saga.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that it's the end of an era because this is when Ashley leaves, and maybe, but, this is very much a beginning and not an end.
Yeah.
And the next episode is very much going to be, and so what do we do now with our lives, and then looking for direction.
I agree.
So, where would you have ended the previous arc? Which episode?
Not the previous episode, the one before then. Oh, actually...
So 14.
Actually, what did they do in 14 again? 14 is just a shipping and shopping episode.
And the council and the getting the instructions for this arc.
No, I would start it there. I think so.
Yeah, I would too. Like, I understand that it's a little confused because they didn't stop episode 13 when they got out of the Underdark, which would be the perfect cutoff point, but no, they just went on for a little bit more. So that made it a little awkward to wrap that up. But definitely 14 should have been the start of the Vasselheim arc.
I agree. It has more just to do with, like...
It's just so... It's so fundamentally different in vibes and in things that go on from what came before it. That's just the cleanest break. And just starting the new arc in the middle of Vasselheim now? Nah.
Way weirder. Like, it's weird to start it in episode 14, but it's way weirder to start it here.
You could argue for episode 15 because that's when they go. That's when they get on the ship and are on their way.
Sure.
But this is objectively the weirdest point to start the arc.
Yes. Yeah. So we are of one mind. Good.
Yes.
Back into the echo chamber we go.
Surprise. Whoa.
And this has been episode 16 of Rollback. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So
for listening.
We'll try to keep our schedule, but there's another thing I forgot to mention.
Is that I have a job?
It's kind of embarrassing. That too.
What did you forget to mention?
But also remember how one of the last episodes we published started with you asking about me having whether I've got some results or something.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure we haven't recorded an episode since I got those results because we recorded the last episode the exact day I expected those results to happen.
Yeah, we wanted to record it before in case they were bad news.
Yeah, in case I would just fall into the deepest funk, which, like, I kind of did, but for completely different reasons. Because unless I completely refuse to say anything during the oral exams, have passed my bar exam.
Yay!
And Bal has a full-time job now.
Good job, Jana!
Hey.
Good job, Jana!
Good job, Bal!
I mean, like, the main thing of me having a job now is just if the schedule gets a little spotty sometimes. But we'll try to keep maintaining a pretty steady state.
Yeah. I mean, this episode is actually a short one, if you cut out all the conversations we had that don't really add anything.
Yeah, and we were kind of do a short one, and also I don't want to do an episode that's longer than the actual episode.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not for this. But, like, this was, like, dense in lore, if you know the lore and aren't just exposed to it for the first time. Later episodes, where they are not that dense in content, but maybe in context, we might have episodes longer than the actual episodes, but we'll try to not have that happen. Yeah. Okay, dear listeners, thank you for sticking with us. If you would like to support us, even though we're now fully grown adults who can start grown-up jobs tomorrow or in a few months, you can find us you can support us at our Patreon, which 4 people do at the time. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I don't know.
Like,
oh, God.
Yes, you can support us at our Patreon. You find the link in the video description or in the metadata for the podcast on the app that you're listening on. That still works. We love you all for listening. We love you for your support.
Thank you very much to Lafia for the art.
And to Curran Sun for the music.
Thank you for the music.
Thank you very much for singing that too. Thank you all for sticking with us. We love you all. And we need an opinion for the episode.
Oh shit, we need an opinion.
Sorry.
Our opinion in this episode is that if you ever feel bad about yourself, just remember that the oldest standing city hasn't even gotten around to cobbling its own streets.
Maybe they're all in river time. Who knows?
Alright. Thank you very much for listening.
We've been over this. This is the literal last line. We're done. Done.
Bye.
Done. Bye. We're fully just because